everybody, it is Steve, your friendly neighborhood lawn gnome. Welcome back to another video of stats, trends, and picks over here on That's Comical. And if you're watching and it happens to be a Wednesday, happy new comic book day. Well, it's August. Yeah, it literally just creeped up on us, and that is absolutely insane for me because August is a special month. As you guys know, not only is it my birthday month, it is also my wedding anniversary month, and this is a landmark for me and my family because this is going to be marking 10 years of marriage. Yes, we've made it, and for many more years to come. But it has been a crazy summer. You guys have probably noticed that there hasn't really been much content coming up on the channel, and that's just simply because of the fact that we all here at That's Comical have had such a busy summer, whether it is major things happening in the family or just us having to be in other places for seeing and doing things and just enjoying the time that we have. So I promise there's plenty of video projects in the works. I have been talking. There has been everything from movie reviews to a new Who Wore It Best to a DC animated discussion to more Ice Cream Man. We've got lots of stuff coming, guys. The summer has just been busy for all of us in a very good way. But it has also been a very big and busy summer for the comic industry. Not many people would think in the best way possible, but we obviously know that we are now in the middle of con season. San Diego Comic-Con happened and gave us a lot. And Terrific-Con is literally happening the weekend of the week that I am recording this. I will date stamp it. It is August 4th, 2026, Tuesday. No, I have not picked up my new weekly comic books until tomorrow, so I am still coming into August fresh as a daisy. Can't believe I just said that. And Terrific-Con is going to be this Saturday, and I was actually really looking forward to going there this year because they had such a stacked lineup, including some of my favorite voice actors and actors of all time. Leah Thompson from Back to the Future was going to be there, for crying out loud. But due to life events and money matters, I decided that this was not going to be a year to go. And they always say that good things come to those who wait, so I'm really hoping that next year is even better, because I definitely feel that I will be going back to Terrific-Con because I went last year. I had such a wonderful time. But anyway, let's talk about comics. It has been a very busy summer, especially for the big two. And it is also crazy to see where things are going regarding the big two. DC either seems to have found their footing or is on life support right now, but Marvel, on the other hand, is going in a very bad direction. They did announce that they are going to be restructuring. They've officially closed their staple New York office to move out to California, and they are planning to now work on more things for their Webtoon Marvel inventory. So I don't necessarily think that that means that that is the end of Marvel comic floppies as we know it. I mean, especially considering the fact that this September is going to be the 1000th issue of The Amazing Spider-Man. So there will still be floppies, I'm sure, but in regards to how much money that Marvel invests in it, I think that that is going to be something that will be slowly declining. And gotta be honest with you guys, I'm now only reading 2 Marvel titles. Yeah, 2 Marvel titles, and one of them is actually coming to an end, and that is the Infernal Hulk number 10. That's coming out this month, and that is going to then pave the way for 4 one-shots that are going to lead to another Marvel event, which we get too many of right now. As a matter of fact, I think that there's 2 of them happening right now, and a 3rd one coming in September. But anyway, there's going to be the Infernal Rage, the Infernal Hulk War. I don't know how many comics are going to be involved. I mean, I'll read it if Philip Kennedy Johnson is going to conclude his saga along with Nick Klein, because I have overall enjoyed it. But other than that, I am just not excited or interested in anything Marvel. But for DC, there's definitely been an uptick. The Next Level books have definitely made their mark along with the Absolute Universe. I mean, I may not be reading the monthly floppies of Absolutes, but I'm picking up a key issue here and there, though I am going to be reading Absolute Superman all the way till the landmark 25th issue, because the story that they've been giving us has just been very entertaining. So I'm reading Absolute Superman at the moment, but I will definitely be excited to pick up all issue number 25s of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman from the Absolute Universe, and I think I will be picking up a couple of Absolute Flashes soon. And I am still reading Absolute Green Arrow, very happy to see that it got 12 issues now instead of 6, and Absolute Catwoman, paving the way for the big event that they haven't really given us much information on. But then with the Next Level books, there's been so many great things. I mean, I'm really excited for what's in store in September, and we'll get into that just a little bit. But let's get into the numbers. Look, the numbers are clear as Christmas right now. It was a good reading month, especially considering the fact that it was a 5-week new comic book month, but only 4 Marvel Comics. Yeah, only 4 Marvel Comics. 13 DC Comics, 17 Image Comics, and 21 other conglomerates. No surprise, there's just been so many great books coming out on the indie circuit. And I'm also very excited for August because there's going to be a milestone happening in my house. My daughter is going to be getting her very first monthly floppy comic book series. IDW is releasing Hello Kitty and Friends Hello World, written by Mariko Tamaki. I am not really the biggest fan of Mariko Tamaki, but my daughter and my wife are huge fans of Hello Kitty. And up until this point, my daughter has gotten a couple of free comic book day books, like Young Jedi Adventures and Spidey and His Amazing Friends. So to know that there is a Hello Kitty book got her really excited, and I'm excited to read it to her. I'm slowly drawing her into the world of comic books, but I don't know how long that's going to last. But anyway, let's get into the percentages. As you can see, a measly 7% for Marvel Comics, almost 24% for DC, and over 30% for Image, but almost 40% for the other conglomerate. I'm just very happy to see that the indie books just continue to be absolutely powerful. And let's take a look at that graph, guys. See, I thought that the blue line would actually be right where the red line was, but like I said, DC is definitely trying to prevent themselves from really getting into the hole right now, and the Absolute and the Next Level books are definitely helping out with that. So how did we do in July of 2026? Not too bad at all. I mean, there were definitely some correct predictions, and then there were some that didn't end up being what I wanted, but they ended up being big, satisfying surprises. So let's take a look at the first week of July of 2026. I, of course, anticipated it to be the 18th issue of Dick Tracy over at Mad Cave Studios. And again, we found out recently that Dick Tracy is going to be concluding in issue number 20, so that means the penultimate issue is coming out in August, and I am just excited to see how this story is going to conclude, because this has been one of my favorite comic books since the issue number 1 came out, and I'm so glad that I started from the beginning. For the second week of July of 2026, of course, it went back to Mad Cave Studios, and the conclusion of the second story arc for Speed Racer from David Pepose. I'm very happy to hear that this is not the end of Speed Racer, especially after reading the last page. There is going to be a third arc coming from Mad Cave and Speed Racer, and yes, David Pepose and David Tinto will be on the book, so I'm glad to see that this creative team is still here, and that we are going to be getting plenty more Speed Racer, because the second story arc was a powerful, powerful read. For the third week of July of 2026, I actually thought that it was going to go to Dork over at Image Comics, and that would have been the start of the second story arc. So maybe I was wrong. Maybe I shouldn't be betting the house on Dork anymore, because it was good, but it wasn't as good as my top read of the week, and it was such a welcoming top pick, because I knew it was coming. It was the one-shot from IDW, The Last Ronin Training Day, of course, from Kevin Eastman and Tom Waltz. I really didn't know what to expect, except I did feel very positive about it, and I really thought that this was a very heartwarming book. It takes place in the middle of the first story arc of The Last Ronin, because yes, we also have been told that there will be a Last Ronin 3 coming out, believe it, at the end of the year, so very happy to know that there's more Last Ronin, but this was a nice read. Very heartwarming, lots of fun, and I really do appreciate that The Last Ronin has turned into more than just a groundbreaking miniseries. There's been so much that has come out of it, and I just want more, and I'm glad that we're getting more. For the 4th week of July of 2026, I thought that it was going to be going over to Image Comics and Robert Kirkman's newest sensation, Terminal, and the funny thing was, I read it once, and I actually didn't like it. And then I just went on to League of Comic Geeks, which is one of my main sources for comic books, and so many positive reviews were there, so I said to myself, what did I miss? I must have been distracted, and that probably was the case, because there was a lot going on when I was trying to read this book. So I actually waited for my daughter to go to sleep, and I actually picked up the book again, and I read it, and it wasn't groundbreaking, but it was a very good read. I loved the artwork from Andy Kubert. Of course, Joe Casey is co-writing this story, and let's just say that I felt very satisfied, and I am very curious to see what the rest of this first story arc is going to be, and I'd like to see if I'll actually stick around with this one for the long term. But the #1 book of that week actually went over to a big surprise. So, I had been very much involved in the Thundercats Silverhawks crossover over at Dynamite Comics from Declan Shalvey and Ed Bryson. I've been reading every single one of the miniseries, and we are almost at the end. This month is actually going to be the final installment, the final 3 issues of all of the miniseries, which is going to be parts 13 and through 15 of the Thundercats Silverhawks crossover. But issue #4 of Thunderhawks, again, like The Last Ronin Training Day, a lot of heart and soul. There were some great books that came out this week, a lot of good books. It was a big week, but there was just something about this book that I was just so drawn to and just felt so much while I was reading it. And let me just say, based on where Thunderhawks ended, I'm really curious to see what the last 3 issues of the 3 miniseries are going to be. But I am going to have to say on a sad note that I did find out that there is going to be a new Thundercats series coming out over at Dynamite, and Greg Pak is going to be writing it. That means that Declan Shalvey is off the book, and it is sort of, I think it's going to be a continuation of the Thundercats story arc that Declan Shalvey wrote, but I think I'm dumping. I think I want to get off the train right now. So, Greg Pak, I'm not really the biggest fan. I know a lot of people love him, but I just felt that after this crossover event, it would be a good place to stop with Thundercats and Silverhawks. But I very much enjoyed my ride. I will say that. And for the final week of July of 2026, the 5th week in the new comic book month, it was no surprise. It went to what they called the chunky-sized anniversary issue, Feral #25, over at Image Comics, Tony Fleecs, Trish Fossner. Whoa, this was an amazing conclusion to the story arc. And I do feel that this felt like the midpoint in the grand story that now is Feral. I am dying to see what's going to happen next, because, oh man, did this story go in a crazy direction. I did not expect it to go where it went. It was also amazing to see the Stray Dogs back in this story arc, and one of the few things that I will definitely say is that if you've been reading Feral but you never read Stray Dogs, you really need to go visit Stray Dogs, because there were so many references to that miniseries, and it is well worth your time to check it out. But I was so floored by Feral #25, and I cannot wait for issue #26. So that was how July of 2026 went. What are we in store for August? A great deal of stuff, guys, let me tell you. For the first week of August of 2026, of course, I am going to be giving it over to Mad Cave Studios and the penultimate issue of Dick Tracy, issue #19. Like I said, at the beginning, I didn't really sing its praises, even though I loved it. And so many times did this book end up being my favorite read out of a stack of books that I would get that week. But Now that the ending is here, I just have to say that it has been such an incredible ride, and I cannot wait to see where this book goes. For the second week of August of 2026, so I want to say that there's a lot of good books coming out. We've got Dork #7 over at Image Comics, the conclusion of The Ghost Machine, Who Are the Unbelievables story with the $1 Trillion Kid, issue #2, and we also have Mark Waid and Chris Samnee getting together again for a follow-up to their Batman and Robin Year 1 12-issue miniseries with a new 12-issue miniseries called Batman and Robin Year 1 Dynamic Duos. Cannot wait for that. But I'm going for broke, everybody, because this book has got to get the top spot at some point in time, and I am giving it to The Fury of Firestorm, issue #5, over at DC Comics by Jeff Lemire. This book is one of the best right now that DC is giving us. I say it every time, but it still has yet to break through. I kind of feel that this may be the month, but I could be wrong, just because there's so many amazing, amazing books that are coming out that week. For the third week of August of 2026, there are some good books coming, but there's one specific book that I have to say tops them all in terms of excitement and anticipation, and that is the second installment of Jason Aaron's Bug Wars. Yes, The Coming of Wardoom, issue #1 of 8. I have been so excited to get back into this world, so excited to see where this goes. The sky is the limit for this story, because if you haven't read the first Bug Wars, guys, you need to check it out now. For the fourth week of August, that is my birthday week. Very excited for a little special present that actually came my way for that week. I was so happy to hear the news. So there was a blind bag from the Energon universe. I can't remember what issue it was, but there were some special books that actually were found in there. One of them was a book called Mask Origins from Josh Williamson and Robert Kirkman, and the other one was the introduction to another Energon universe character, Rom, from Robert Kirkman. So I was really upset that this happened. I really wanted to get these books, but lo and behold, I had a feeling, everybody had a feeling, that these two books would be reprinted and put on the store shelves for all those who didn't get it in the blind bag to collect them. So yes, those will be coming out that week, but those are not my top picks. As a matter of fact, it's a different tie. There are two very interesting books coming out that week. There is a DC Vertigo miniseries called Black Tower, The Raven Conspiracy, from one of my favorite writers, Ram V. They basically said, what if Harry Potter grew up and the story was more mature? And Mike Perkins and Mike Spicer are doing the artwork, so I am all in for that. Along with another big surprise, a new offering from Rick Remender over at Image Comics called Hammer Fist. They basically said that this was like, I think the description was The Evil Dead meets Quentin Tarantino. So I'm like, okay, let me check this one out. I mean, Rick Remender has been one of my favorite writers, from The Seasons to The Sacrificers, of course, to one of the hottest books right now, Escape. I'm excited for another Rick Remender adventure. And that is going to wrap up my stats, trends, and picks for July of 2026. Let me know how your July 2026 went. Did I miss anything? And what are you looking forward to the most in August of 2026? I hope that you guys have a good one, and I will see you in the next one.